I've got a certain knack, a way of leading folks through the Black Ridge Mountains, a place that'll kill you if you look at it sideways, to find the kind of wild herbs and roots that fetch a high price. But I never figured that the moment they started making real money, they'd all turn on me. Why the hell does Cal get to take a 30% cut every time just for being a guide? That ginseng root I dug up last week sold for $3 grand. He walked away with $900 of my money. That's not a cut, that's highway robbery. Think about it. In just the last month, with all of us bringing stuff down, he's probably skimmed $50,000, $60,000 off the top. Damn right. All he does is point the way. He doesn't do any of the hard digging, doesn't even find the buyers. Why is he getting the lion's share? Mayor Thompson, the head of our town council, made it official at a town meeting. I've made a decision, he announced, looking right at me. Cal, from now on, you lead a group from this town into the mountains. You get a flat fee of $1,000 per trip. Don't get greedy. We think that's more than fair, considering. I looked at their faces, a crowd of neighbors who looked like they were ready to eat me alive, and I had to laugh. If it wasn't for my knack, my ability to feel danger before it strikes, they wouldn't just be broke, they'd be dead. What they didn't know was that every time I sidestepped a disaster for them, it took a piece out of me. It left me drained, shaky, needing a cocktail of expensive supplements and herbal remedies just to get back on my feet. And in their eyes, I was the bad guy taking advantage of them? Fine, I'm done leading you people. Let's just see how you fare on your own. Let's see if you find any more treasures, or if you even make it back out of those woods alive. I was on my ATV, heading into town to pick up another batch of those pricey herbal supplements when my phone buzzed. It was Grandma, the only family I've got. Her voice was tight with panic. She told me to get home now, said half the town was at our house. My first thought was irritation. It had to be about another trip into the Black Ridge. Mayor Thompson had called yesterday, pushing for one. I told him straight up I needed 3 or 4 days to recover. Why were they in such a goddamn hurry? It's not like they could force me. But then Grandma's voice broke, and she started crying. Cal, you need to get back here. Big Dave Miller just walked out with your new TV. Said you owed him. A hot spike of anger shot through me. What the hell was this? If anything, Dave's family owed me. If I hadn't guided him into that hidden hollow, would he have stumbled on that $3,000 ginseng root? That money paid for his son's first semester of community college and got his mother the prescription meds that finally got her back on her feet. I spun the ATV around and gunned it back toward home. When I got there, our small house was surrounded, people packed 3 deep on the lawn. The way they stared at me, pointing and whispering, sent a cold dread through my stomach. I pushed through the crowd and went inside. Mayor Thompson was sitting in my armchair like it was his throne, puffing on a cigar. He saw me and didn't waste any time. Cal, you're back, he said, like a judge passing sentence. The good people of Stony Creek are here to inform you of a few changes. From now on, you got a trip, you get $1 grand. Flat fee. We're doing this as a favor, knowing it's just you and your grandmother. Don't be ungrateful. He paused, blowing a smoke ring. And you're not to take a percentage again. Now, you're going to give Dave Miller back the $900 you gouged him for. As for the others, the amounts are smaller. We'll let it slide. Consider it a gift to your family. The mayor's son, Travis, a hulking brute who thought he was some kind of local gangster, stepped toward me, reaching for my pockets. I almost laughed in his face. This was a goddamn shakedown. The nerve of these people. My eyes scanned the room, landing on my neighbor, Dave Miller, and then on a guy I'd consider my best friend since kindergarten. Not a single one of them would meet my gaze. I got it then. This was a coordinated attack, a public lynching. I stepped back, out of Travis's reach. Mayor, I said, keeping my voice steady. Every trip I lead costs me. I have to prepare. It takes a toll on my body. I have to buy expensive supplements to recover. I'd always told them I had an old family ritual, a way of listening to the mountain, to explain my knack. Everyone here knows, I continued. Our town has sat at the foot of these mountains for 100 years. Who dared go deep inside? Going in, there was a death sentence. But I took you in, and I brought you out alive, and you all made money because of it. After I buy what I need to stay healthy, is it so wrong for me to keep a little for myself? On every trip, I was on high alert, scanning every shadow, every trail, which meant I couldn't dig for anything myself. Travis, who usually took the lead when his father wanted something done, sneered at me. Cal, how long are you gonna keep up that mountain man voodoo act? You think you're the only one who can listen to the mountain? You're not fooling anyone. You're just a con artist using it as an excuse to fleece us all. You're a goddamn parasite, sucking us dry. The people in this town believed in all sorts of old superstitions. But when there was money on the line, they didn't give a damn about spirits or ghosts. They just wanted the cash. I stared at Travis, a man I barely recognized. Just a few weeks ago on our last trip, he'd been calling me brother and slapping me on the back, lighting my cigarettes, and pouring me shots of whiskey when we got back. Now he was looking at me like I was something he'd scraped off his boot. 2. Travis wasn't just attacking me. He was rallying the crowd, using me to build his own power base. Am I right, folks? Tell me I'm wrong. The whole room turned on me, a single greedy voice. He's right, Cal. You got way too greedy. Look, if you really had some gift, we wouldn't mind you earning something. But not that much. Yeah, 30% for doing nothing? That's insane. I looked at them, my face a cold mask. Honestly, I thought 30% was a bargain. For anyone else, I'd have demanded 70. Why? Because I was the only reason they could walk into the Black Ridge and walk out again breathing. I knew for a fact that if I went over to the next town, Harmony Creek, they'd jump at the chance. Forget finding a big score, like a ginseng root. Just a simple afternoon foraging for mushrooms could be a gold mine. Last week, Mrs. Gable from next door filled 2 baskets with morels in a few hours. She sold them at the farmer's market for over $300. That kind of luck wasn't guaranteed, but I took them out 4 or 5 times a month. They could easily clear $1,000, $1,500 each, every time. I was basically handing them a steady job that paid $5 or $6 a month, with short hours and an insane hourly rate. And that didn't even count the chance of hitting the jackpot. Don't think $6 a month isn't a lot. Sure, you go online and everyone claims to be making 6 figures, but out here in Stony Creek, with no job to speak of, most families were lucky to clear $10,000 a year. Before I could get another word in, they were all shouting me down, their anger feeding on itself until it felt like I was the worst kind of criminal. Travis used me as his punching bag to cement his new role as their leader. I'll ask you one more time, Cal. You taking our deal or not? I was speechless. $1,000 a trip? My supplements alone cost more than $2,000 every single time. This was pure bullying, plain and simple. I wanted to help everyone get ahead, to see the whole town do better, and now they wanted to cut me out and keep all the profits for themselves. The sheer audacity of it was staggering. But I'm not a kid anymore. I've seen enough of the world to know when to swallow my rage. I took a deep breath. Look, I said calmly, these are the receipts for my supplies from the pharmacy in town. This knack of mine really does take a physical toll. And when we're up there, I'm the lookout. I have to watch for every kind of danger. I can't forage for myself. $1,000 doesn't even cover my costs. I'd be losing money on every trip. I'm working too. Don't I deserve to get paid? Travis cut me off. Enough with the sob story. We've heard it. Yes or no? $1,000. He smirked. Let me spell it out for you. These last few trips, I've been tracking our routes on my phone. Every trail, every turn. I've been watching you, and I've learned your little tricks. We were trying to be neighborly, give you a chance to do the right thing. But if you're going to be a stubborn ass, we'll just cut you out completely. Don't say we didn't warn you. Big Dave was the first to back him up. Yeah, Cal, we came here to talk this out like adults, so don't be a dick. Now, give me my $900. You act like you've never seen money before, ripping off your own damn neighbor. I couldn't believe this was coming from Dave, a man I'd always known as a quiet, decent guy. This was beyond ungrateful. This is what money does to people. A goddamn curse. An old-timer in the village, someone everyone respected, chimed in, siding with Dave. Cal, we're not playing around. You took the man's money, you give it back. Your family has always been good people. We're willing to overlook this one mistake, let you stay in this town. But if you push it, there won't be a place for you here anymore. With his blessing, the floodgates opened. The rest of my neighbors, people I know my whole life, joined the chorus, their friendly faces twisted into masks of greed and accusation. 3. It wasn't enough to come after me. They started in on the only person I had left, my grandma. Someone yelled, "Your grandma ought to be ashamed. There's something wrong with the way she raised you. Maybe you should check your family plot. See if some bad spirits latched onto you. We don't have room for greedy bastards like you in Stony Creek." My grandma, a kind soul who wouldn't hurt a fly, just broke down in tears. She knew I hadn't done anything wrong, that I was the one being wronged. But she was terrified. She knew what it meant to be an outcast in a town this small. So was I. If it were just me, I'd have told them all to go to hell and never given back a dime. But they had my grandma. I was afraid of what they might do to her. I didn't have much cash on me. I've only got $500 on me right now. Take it or leave it. Dave snatched the bills from my hand. $500 is $500, he grumbled. That TV of yours is probably worth the other $400. I already took it, so we're even. With that settled, Mayor Thompson switched tactics, playing the benevolent leader. There, see? That's the right thing to do. Cal, you're still a good kid from Stony Creek. Everyone makes mistakes. We won't hold it against you for getting a little blinded by dollar signs. Travis played the bad cop. Bet he's only coughing it up because he's scared we won't let him make his $1,000 guide fee, he said with a sneer. I still don't trust him. The mayor waved a dismissive hand. Travis, be generous. We'll stick to the plan. Cal is still our guide. He said he needs to take care of his body. So let's make it $1,500 trip. That's fair. With a few dozen families going, that's only another $20 a household. It's no big deal for us. Jesus Christ. They talked about it like they were tossing scraps to a beggar. My voice was flat, devoid of all emotion. Since you clearly don't value what I do, and since my body is telling me I need a long rest, I'll be taking a break from the mountains for a while. And let me be clear, I've seen how all of you have acted today. Since you're so sure that I'm not the reason you've made all this money, and you believe Travis can lead you back safely, then you should follow him. I won't stop you. When you find something valuable, all the credit goes to him. Travis puffed out his chest. You're damn right it will. I ignored him and continued. But if he leads you into trouble, if something goes wrong, don't you dare come crying to me or cursing my family name. Now all of you get out of my house. Did Travis really think he could replicate my success just by following a GPS track on his phone? He had no idea how many times I'd felt a prickle of danger on that very route and led them on a slight detour to avoid it. Just last week, I'd felt it, a cold dread that made me halt the group. Moments later, a 20-foot diamondback rattlesnake, thick as my thigh, slithered across the path. If we'd been 30 seconds earlier, it would have struck one of us. He thought he could learn my gift by watching me? It was all surface-level nonsense. My ability was an instinct, a feeling in my gut. He could mimic my posture all day long. It wouldn't do him a damn bit of good. The Black Ridge is no joke. Beyond the venomous snakes, poisonous insects, and bears, there are pockets of toxic gas that can seep from the ground, odorless and deadly. One deep breath and you're done. The old stories our grandparents told us, the warnings to stay out of the deep woods, they weren't just tall tales. 90% of the people who got lost and they never came out. Another 9% stumbled out weeks later, their minds broken from whatever they saw or breathed in. Only 1% ever made it out okay. These people were fools. Blind, short-sighted fools. The greedy ones weren't me. It was them. 4. Travis herded everyone out. Before leaving, he shot me a final warning. Cal, I hope you learn a lesson from this. What goes around comes around. Don't think for a second we can't do this without you. When I'm leading everyone to bigger scores, don't you come crawling back, begging for a handout. Don't blame me for taking your gig. After they left, the house was a wreck. Sunflower seed shells littered the floor, and some kid had taken a crap in the corner. They'd even walked off with one of our kitchen chairs. Thankfully, nothing valuable was stolen. Seeing my grandma sighing, overwhelmed by it all, made a fresh wave of guilt wash over me. Grandma, I said softly, I was just trying to do something good. She patted my head. I know you were, Cal. They're the ones in the wrong. They took it too far. Grandma, I said, seizing the moment. What if we leave? We can move out of Stony Creek. I can take the folks from Harmony Creek into the mountains instead. I know once they start making money, people here will get jealous and cause more trouble. And my knack, it's not something just anyone can replicate. They're going to get hurt up there, and I'm afraid they'll take it out on you. I expected her to resist, to tell me she couldn't leave the only home she'd ever known. But she nodded firmly. Okay, Cal, I'll go wherever you go. Just don't you worry about me being a burden. It was clear they had broken her heart, too. We didn't have much to pack. The only thing of value was the new TV, and that was already gone. Grandma gathered a small box of her old jewelry. I loaded her onto the ATV, and we drove to the next town over. I had about $2,000 left to my name. The plan was to rent a small apartment, just to have a place to land. I knew it wouldn't take more than a few months to save up enough for a down payment on a real house. A proper house with modern plumbing, where Grandma could finally be comfortable. That night, I treated her to a real steak dinner at a restaurant in town. Seeing her smile, a real, genuine smile, hardened my resolve. I was going to give her a good life, and I was going to make those ungrateful bastards in Stony Creek watch. I heard later that the whole town had a massive party at the mayor's house that evening. It was like Christmas in July. People brought over chickens for a big cookout, and the whiskey flowed freely. Everyone was treating Travis like a hero. To Travis, they toasted, "We're counting on you to lead us to the promised land." "You got it," someone else slurred. "You bring us back safe, we'll give you $3,000 a trip. That's less than $100 a family. Hell of a lot better than Cal's 30%. Travis was non-committal. "We'll see," he said, trying to sound humble. "Money's not the important thing." The bastard. Of course it was about the money. He'd push me out so he could take my place and rake in the cash himself. All that talk about saving the town from me was a load of crap. A few of the smarter folks in the crowd probably saw right through him, but they kept their mouths shut. They'd already burned their bridge with me. Now, their only hope for getting rich was Travis, the apprentice who thought he knew it all. Besides, his daddy was the mayor, and their family had enough cousins and brothers to make trouble for anyone who crossed them. 5. The next morning, I went out to grab some breakfast for Grandma. My plan was to drive over to Harmony Creek and talk to their town leader about my proposition. This time, I was going in as a businessman, not a neighbor. The deal would be a 70-30 split. My favor, take it or leave it. Even at 30%, a single trip could net them a few $100 each. A big find could change their lives overnight. I planned to take them out 6 times a month. But as I stepped out of the apartment building, 3 sheriff's deputies were waiting for me. "You Caleb Hayes?" one of them asked. "That's me. We've received a complaint that you've been running a scam, using local superstitions to defraud people of their money. We'd like you to explain yourself." That familiar fire ignited in my gut again. Some son of a bitch had reported me. Had to be someone from Stony Creek. My money was on Dave Miller or Travis Thompson. They weren't just content with pushing me out. They wanted to destroy me. What do they gain from this? In this day and age, with the county cracking down on any kind of fraud or con, an accusation like this could land me in jail. Of course, I denied everything. They questioned me for a while, but with no proof. All they could do was give me a stern warning and let me go. But the whole experience left a sour taste in my mouth. I spat on the ground. I knew Travis was leading the Stony Creek crew into the mountains today. Fine, let's just wait and see how that turns out for you. Let's see if somebody ends up dead. I'd warned them. There was nothing more I could do. I went to Harmony Creek and met with their town elder, Sarah, who ran the general store. She was warm and welcoming. "Cal, we've been hearing whispers about the good fortune you've brought to Stony Creek. We were all green with envy," she said with a kind smile. "I was just about to come find you myself, and here you are, like a blessing from above." She listened to my proposal. "You're a smart woman, Sarah. You know this isn't a charity. It's a business. You have the gift to get people through those mountains. You deserve the lion's share. 70-30 sounds more than fair to me, and I hear these trips take a lot out of you. Here." She handed me a small, heavy jar. "This is a potent ginseng tincture my grandfather made. Take it, for your health. Just let us know when you're ready to go. We'll be waiting." Her words, her simple decency, almost brought tears to my eyes. How could 2 towns, separated by just one ridge, be so different? I tried to refuse the tincture, telling her it was worth hundreds, but she insisted. She was thanking me on behalf of her whole town. She knew what an opportunity this was. I figured I'd make it up to them by taking them on an extra trip sometime. Instead of going straight back to my apartment, I found a high, hidden overlook with a clear view of the trail leading out of the Black Ridge, the one I used to take my old neighbors on. I wanted to see what happened when Travis Thompson brought them home. I waited for over 2 hours. Finally, I saw them. They were straggling out of the woods, a grim, panicked procession. The mood was so heavy you could feel it from half a mile away. In the middle of the group, 2 men were carrying a makeshift stretcher. On it was Big Dave Miller. His body was convulsing, and white foam flecked his lips. 6. I knew it. I knew something would go wrong. They really thought the Black Ridge was some kind of theme park. From the looks of him, Dave had either been bitten by a rattlesnake or he'd breathed in a pocket of poison gas. Not long after they got him back to town, Dave's wife, Maria, stormed over to the Thompsons' house, screaming, "Travis Thompson, you get your ass out here!" She shrieked, her face streaked with tears and rage. "You did this to my husband. You're going to answer for this." Travis came out, looking shaken. "It's not my fault. How was I supposed to know this would happen? I don't care. You're going to pay for this, or so help me God." Maria started shoving him, sobbing uncontrollably. The other villagers who had gathered around started shouting their support for her. Travis knew he was in deep trouble. He couldn't take responsibility for this. The liability would bankrupt his family. The Thompsons were used to throwing their weight around, not being held accountable. Travis's face hardened. He whistled, and a couple of his cousins appeared, grabbing Maria and shoving her off the property. He then turned to the crowd, his voice laced with menace, warning them to back off. He tried to argue that he was doing them a favor, that it wasn't his responsibility if things went wrong. But they weren't buying it. It was Mayor Thompson who had orchestrated my ousting, so they could all get richer. Now, their golden goose was dead, and they weren't about to swallow that loss. It wasn't just Dave, either. Several others who had gone with Travis had inhaled some kind of bad air and were coughing up blood. After a quick, furious conference, the villagers grabbed pitchforks, shovels, whatever they could find, and surrounded the Thompson house. 100 angry people. They dragged Travis out like a prisoner, tied his hands, and demanded he give them an answer. That's when Travis finally got scared. He started pleading, "Don't blame me. We took the exact same trail Cal always used. I did everything just like he did. You should be blaming Cal. He must have held something back, set us up on purpose. It's all his fault, that backstabbing snake." Nobody was listening. Mayor Thompson, hearing the commotion, came rushing out, where he saw his son bruised and bloodied. He roared, "What is the meaning of this? Have you all lost your minds?" One of the town's notorious troublemakers stepped forward and slapped the mayor so hard his glasses flew off, sending him stumbling backward onto the ground. "You old fool," the man spat. "Your son cost us our livelihood and nearly got a bunch of us killed, and you have the nerve to yell at us?" The crowd surged forward, and the mayor's bravado vanished. He scrambled to his feet, his face a mask of placating fear. "Wait, it was you who came to me complaining about Cal's cut. You're the ones who pressured him. You can't put this all on us. My son was trying to help, and he didn't charge you a dime, did he?" He had a point there. Travis hadn't collected any money, planning to decide on his cut after seeing what they brought back. But they come back with nothing but injuries and a potential corpse. Like his son, the mayor tried to shift the blame. "I think we all know who's really responsible here," he said, his voice rising. "It's Cal. Maria, you should be demanding compensation from him. Think about it. My son took you on the exact same route Cal always used, right? How is it that when Cal leads, you're all safe, but the day after we have a falling out with him, you walk that same path and disaster strikes? He did this to you. Don't forget, he has his little rituals, his knack. He put a curse on you." Some of the villagers exchanged uneasy glances. A few of them actually seemed to buy it. I watched from my hiding spot, cursing under my breath. The Thompsons were a piece of work. They pushed me out to grab the profits, and when it all goes south, they try to pin the blame on me. But Maria Miller was an idiot. She knew her only real target was Travis. The sheriff wouldn't do a thing to me based on their superstitious nonsense. But Travis had physically led them up that mountain, promising them safety. Maria stepped forward, her voice ringing with clarity. "Don't you listen to him. Don't you see what he's doing? He's trying to trick you again. Travis Thompson is the one who has to pay." Travis knew if he had to pay for everyone's medical bills, he'd lose everything. So he started cursing them out, fighting back. That was the spark that lit the fuse. The crowd descended on him, punching and kicking. They broke his leg. Seeing the mob out of control, the mayor snuck away to call the sheriff. But someone spotted him and dragged him back, and he got a beating for his trouble too. When it came to their money, they didn't care who was mayor. You block their path to wealth, you pay the price. The chaos only stopped when the sheriff's deputies finally arrived. Travis was hauled off to the hospital, and his bruised and battered father went with him. I watched the whole ugly show, then went home, feeling a grim sense of satisfaction. That night, I bought a leg of lamb and cooked a feast for Grandma. We ate like kings. 7. After a couple more days of rest, I went to Harmony Creek. They welcomed me with open arms, but after my experience with Stony Creek, I kept my guard up. I took them into the mountains, same as always. One of the guys got incredibly lucky and found a ginseng root that sold for $2,000. He handed me $1,400 on the spot, shaking my hand like I'd just saved his life. That night, the whole town threw a party for me, a massive barbecue with a whole roasted pig. One after another, people came up to thank me, to offer me a drink. The town elder, Sarah, even tried to set me up with her granddaughter. I slept until 2 in the afternoon the next day. The difference between the two towns was night and day. I told them I'd be back in 5 days for the next trip and left amid a chorus of cheers. The idea of settling down in Harmony Creek, maybe marrying a nice girl from here, started to sound pretty good. I was almost 30. It was time to start a family. I did the math. On that one trip, besides the big ginseng find, about 30 people had come along. They each cleared about $100 after my cut. My share from that single trip was close to $4,000. $4,000. Back in Stony Creek, a good trip might net me a little over $1,000, and they acted like I was stealing food from their children's mouths. I spent $2,000 on more supplements and bought Grandma a new coat and a silver bracelet. I deposited the rest in the bank, one step closer to buying a house. I didn't feel any desire to go back and rub it in their faces. As far as I was concerned, that chapter of my life was closed. But when I got back to my rental, I found Maria Miller sitting in our living room, talking to my grandma. She'd brought back my TV and was in the middle of a tearful apology. She claimed Dave had been manipulated by the mayor, that he was sick and they had massive medical bills, and she begged me to take her into the mountains. She went on and on about how wrong they'd been, trying to sweet-talk me into being their cash cow again. I'd already tasted freedom. There was no way I was going back. I told her plainly that what they did had cut too deep. I wouldn't be taking them into the mountains again, and if they tried to force me, they wouldn't like the consequences. Maria knew better than to push. Forcing me to guide them was a dangerous game. I held all the cards up on the mountain. Seeing her words had no effect on me. She dropped to her knees and started begging for forgiveness, saying they were ungrateful scum. I knew it was all a performance for my grandma, hoping her soft heart might sway me. A few days later, when it was clear I wasn't budging, they sent a new delegation. They'd heard about the money people in Harmony Creek were making, and the jealousy was eating them alive. This time, they sent people I'd been friends with, including the guy I'd once called my best friend, the same one who stood by and said nothing while Travis Thompson tried to rob me. It was the same old routine. Apologies, compliments, and a petition signed by dozens of villagers formally asking me to come back. They promised to build a hall of honor for me in the town square. They swore they'd been brainwashed by the Thompsons and now saw the error of their ways. They even offered to cut down the oldest, most beautiful oak tree in the valley to make a coffin for my grandma, a traditional sign of the highest respect. I told them to go home. They had broken something that couldn't be fixed. The only thing that gave me pause was my grandma. I didn't want to put her in a difficult position, but this time she was firm. "Cal," she said, her voice strong, "I won't be a burden to you. You do what you think is right. Don't worry about me." 8. I thought my refusal had been clear enough to finally get them to leave me alone. I underestimated their desperation and their shamelessness. This time, Mayor Thompson came himself. With him were Maria Miller and a few other men, and they were frog-marching Travis between them. I remembered those men. They'd been Travis's loyal henchmen during my public shaming. Now, they turned on him completely. Travis was a pathetic sight. He was bare-chested, and someone had tied thorny branches to his back in some twisted parody of a public penance. The bloody scratches were real. He was wincing in pain with every step. His broken leg hadn't healed yet, but he didn't dare struggle. He was forced to his knees in front of my door. It was obvious that whatever brought him here, he hadn't come willingly. Money, I thought, really does make the world go round. It could unite a town against their own local bully. The mayor's eyes were filled with pain for his son, but he hid it behind a mask of performative regret. "Cal, my boy," he began, "I am so sorry. That worthless son of mine. He misled me. I was a fool to listen to him. What we did to you was wrong, terribly wrong." He started slapping his own face, a full-blown melodrama. He made a show of starting to kneel, clearly expecting me to stop him. I just took a step back and watched. The mayor froze halfway to the ground, then awkwardly straightened up. The silence was thick. He had clearly expected me to welcome him in, to say let bygones be bygones, and agree to lead them all back to prosperity. Dream on. I was making great money and earning respect. Why would I ever go back to that snake pit? The mayor's face flushed with humiliation. He was a man who had thrown his weight around this county his whole life. He started to turn away, but a look from a man holding his son stopped him cold. I realized they must have forced him to come, probably with threats of what would happen if he failed. I wouldn't put it past them to burn his house down. This wasn't just about money anymore. For some, it was about survival. The mayor grabbed my leg, his voice cracking into a theatrical wail. Cal, you can't be so heartless. I held you in my arms when you were a baby. Look, how about this? You come back, you take a 40% cut. He gritted his teeth. No, 50%. We split it right down the middle. How's that? Even now, he talked as if he was doing me the world's biggest favor, as if they were the ones making a great sacrifice. They still didn't get it. They were the greedy ones, not me. 9. I shook him off. Do you have any idea what my deal is with Harmony Creek? The mayor scoffed. I sent someone to ask. Bunch of tight-lipped hillbillies wouldn't say a word. I figure, what, they give you 20% tops. I take 70, I said flatly. He stared at me, his mouth agape. Impossible. Cal, you can't just make up numbers because you know we're desperate. You're extorting us. 70%? Are they idiots? Why would they agree to that? Travis seized the opportunity. See, everyone, you see, you wanted me to come here and beg, but look at him. He's a damn vampire. This isn't greed anymore. He wants to bleed us dry. 70%. He's a liar. Maria Miller and the others looked furious, too. They believed him. They thought I was shaking them down. Travis tried to bargain. 55%. That's our final offer. Don't push it, Cal, or you'll regret it. I was done being angry with these people. It was a waste of energy. My voice was calm. Go home. I already told you I want nothing to do with you. And just so we're crystal clear, even if you offer me 100% of the profits, I wouldn't take you into those mountains. I wouldn't do it if you paid me. Seeing that it was truly over, Travis dropped the act. He stood up, ripping the thorny branches from his back with a pained grunt. See? I told you. His heart is black. This isn't the same Cal we grew up with. You forced me to come here for nothing. Let's go. The mayor glared at me. You're a cruel man, Cal Hayes. You've burned every bridge. There's no place for you or your family in Stony Creek ever again. But Maria and the others weren't finished. Their anger at me was replaced by a renewed fury at the Thompsons. This is all your fault, Maria screamed at them. If you hadn't pushed Cal out, none of this would have happened. That's right. We could have made thousands by now. You owe us that money. Maria's husband was still in a coma, the doctors saying he could go at any time. Her grief and rage exploded. She lunged at Travis, clawing at his wounds, kicking his bad leg until the bones snapped again with a sickening crack. The other men piled on, and someone shoved the mayor down the apartment stairs. Just then, a group of men came charging up the stairwell. It was my landlord, a man from Harmony Creek, and he brought back up. What the hell is going on here? He yelled, pushing his way through to stand in front of me. It's fine, John, I said. It's over. He relaxed slightly. I saw them pull up and knew it was trouble, so I called some of our guys. These ungrateful bastards better not bother you again. You let me know, Cal. From now on, anyone from Stony Creek tries to get in this building, I'll throw them out myself. 10. The commotion was so loud that someone must have called the cops. The nearest sheriff's station was only a few blocks away, and deputies arrived in minutes. It was a chaotic scene. Travis and his father were babbling about being assaulted. Maria Miller was screaming that Travis was a murderer and should be executed. It was such a mess the deputies couldn't sort it out. They ended up taking everyone to the station to cool off in a holding cell for the day before sending them home. Life went on. I kept taking the people of Harmony Creek into the mountains every 5 or 6 days. 1 month, we had an incredible run of luck. Several people found valuable ginseng and rare mushrooms. My cut came to over $10,000. I heard bits and pieces about what happened back in Stony Creek. After the disaster in my apartment, the Thompsons became town pariahs. Maria, and the families of the men who were still coughing up blood hounded them relentlessly. The mayor, once the most respected and feared man in town, couldn't walk down the street without being cursed at. The fall from grace was too much for him. One day, after finding out a local kid had peed in his whiskey flask, he had a massive stroke. The doctor said he'd likely never leave the hospital. Travis, dealing with his own problems, couldn't be bothered to visit him. With his dream of becoming the next mayor shattered, Travis decided to leave town and find work elsewhere. He was halfway through packing his truck when he got the news Big Dave Miller had died. Travis knew what was coming. He dropped everything and made a run for it. He didn't even make it to the end of his driveway. Maria Miller was waiting for him. She stabbed him 3 times. He bled out right there on the road. Maria was arrested and sentenced to prison. It made the local news. Hundreds of people from Stony Creek signed a petition asking for leniency, arguing that Travis had gotten what he deserved. It wasn't just Dave who had died. 2 of the other men who had inhaled the bad air on that trip had also passed away. The whole ugly saga taught me a lot about human nature. It also made me wonder why things were so different in Harmony Creek. Here, they were grateful. Here, they treated me with respect. I ended up marrying a wonderful woman from Harmony Creek. We built a good life together. When the Old Town elder retired, they even asked me to take her place, but I turned them down. We had already bought a nice new house in town, and I bought a small condo for my grandma in the same building, 1 floor down. Harmony Creek prospered. People started building new additions to their homes, buying new cars. The people of Stony Creek, watching their old neighbors thrive while they fell further into poverty, grew bitter. One night, a group of them got drunk and drove over to Harmony Creek to start a fight. The sheriff arrested the ringleaders and threw them in jail for a few months. That seemed to quiet things down. I don't know much about what happened to Stony Creek after that. I never went back. I never spoke to any of them again. The end.